said I'd provide some updates to you when I had them, so I do have an update. Terry McLaurin has reported, and we're very happy about that. He'll start the training camp on PUP for his ankle. So on the business side, AP and the guys are still working hard with Terry and his rep on the business side of things. So while on PUP, just like we do with the other guys, he'll be working with the trainers, to get back as soon as he can. So same scenario like Sam Cosme onto the side, working there. So wanted to give you the update.
Welcome into Command Center Training Camp Live. We are out in Ashburn, Virginia right now for week 1 of our Commanders Training Camp. Now, we've got a big show on deck for you today because it's Back Together Sunday. That's right. We got the best fans in the NFL in the building. Yes, yes, yes. And to our fans' delight, we have gotten news on Terry McLaurin.
Yeah.
He is back in the building. Right. He is on the PUP list. Logan, I'm going to go with you because you're looking so cool over there in that straw hat.
I feel like there's a little bit of hate from you, man. It's still
How does that news affect camp?
I mean, it's exciting, man. I think getting a leader back like Terry in the building, to me, it shows a progression. I don't know, and that's always exciting. And it just getting him back in the fold is always going to be a big deal.
Guys love seeing the leader, the captain, come back in the building. It's exciting to have him back. He's not going to do anything, obviously, on the PUP list, but we're glad to have him back in the building.
Sometimes it's all about presence. Feet on the ground, boots on the ground, and just him being here tells everybody everything's coming back. Might not be at your pace, but everything is on the right track and headed in the right direction.
Just when things start getting going with camp, where training camp fans are out, it's great to know that something is brewing with your leader, with your guy. And, I was sitting there scratching my head last week like, man, we haven't been hearing much, but to hear that he's back in the building, I'm very pleased.
Well, I think when you have Terry back in the building, it automatically gives you promise, gives you hope. And I think that's what everybody wanted to get.
Yeah. You talk about boots on the ground. I got boots on the ground with the best guys in the building. I got future Hall of Famer Brian Mitchell. I got Mr. 8 to the 9 Santana Moss. I got Mr. 2 to the 7 Fred Smoot. I got the big dog Sean Springs in the building. And then, of course, the legend Logan Paulson. Now, fellas, like I said, the fans is in the building now. This is a little different. Things pick up a little bit. Now, Fred, you a man of the people. What's it like when you got friends, when you got fans in the building to come watch you play?
Not like a game, but similar to a game. You got eyes on you, and we always got an eye in the sky. The camera never lie. But then when you get these human eyes out here, you want to make sure you hold a certain standard. Me and Sean were just talking about it. We enjoyed these practices. It was a chance for us to showcase the things that we can do, especially at the beginning of the year. Everybody at this point, it don't matter. All 32 teams think they're going 16, 17-0 right now. So the fan base is ruckus. The fan base is loud, and everybody just excited for the start of a new year.
And you want to give them something to let them know that you.
You gotta get an interception or something.
You gotta give them something, make a play or something. Santana always used to try to score on me.
It's spin the ball.
First day he want to spin the ball.
Where did try come from?
You heard they try, so you know what that means. Those 2 lips, those 4 lips will tell a lot of lies. So.
My dad was a preacher.
I love when the fans are here because it always gave me that sense of urgency to say, hey, this is not a practice. I have to prepare or look apart like I'm in a game. You know what I mean? So I always kind of pep my game up a little bit.
I look for the practices when you had fans there. Very much like I look at primetime games. It's that time when you want to show it up. When fans come out, they want to leave here. I want them to leave saying B. Mitchell's balling today.
I want his shirt.
If I'm playing on Monday night, Thursday night, whatever, I want people to say that dude B. Mitchell's getting it done. And I think this is the time when you come out, you want to make sure you have that damn near perfect practice.
And I think it's different when you make a play at practice and no crowd roars compared to the crowd roaring. After you go out there and make a play in 7-on-7, 1-on-1s, team drill. It's just a little extra oomph, if you know what I mean.
I mean, it used to always sketch me out a little bit. You guys all excited? I used to be like, don't get embarrassed. I won't be embarrassed at practice, right? Like, especially like when the fan day lined up with the first day of pads. Because I don't want to physically get knocked in my butt. You know what I'm saying? So like, it was a day that always just a lot of fun getting them out here, but always a little bit more heightened stress.
So in other words, it made everybody be on high alert.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, these guys don't play
down. You got to
play
be ready to
physical
go.
positions, though. So they don't understand that physical.
Well, Logan, there's no reason to be stressed now because we are here now on this side of it. We're going to have a fun show with you. The guys are going to get out on that field. We're going to talk a lot about these Commanders. But first things first, let's start the show off with our fearless leader, Dan Quinn. It's time for Built for this, presented by Clark Construction, the official construction partner of the Washington Commanders.
More just our relentless attitude to get better, and that's where you keep pushing. You find this connecting of competing against one another over and over again. As it goes, there's more plays. So the first day, this amount of plays, second, a little bit more, third, a little bit more. So the playbook expands, and you want to see who can stay locked, who can stay in it. There's going to be some mistakes, no doubt about it, but you do want to see who can handle the amount of the install as it goes. So, yeah, it'll be a fun 3-day block, one of them that will include padded, and that's a different evaluation for the big guys.
Yeah. You are looking at a live shot of our Commanders getting ready for a training camp. It was so fun during our OTA live shows talking about these moments where you guys stretched and got your minds right. And we getting our minds right now. It's time for Let's Cook, presented by Pepsi, the official soft drink of the Washington Commanders. And fellas, we have been cooking up all off season, whether it's through the draft, whether it's through free agency, whether it's bringing guys back into the fold. B. Mitch, we're going to start with you. Let's talk about this offense real quick, because I think all eyes are not only on Jayden Daniels in the passing game, but this running back room.
Yes, it is. And I think the thing about it, like, people know I like to cook. Okay, so for me, you got to have the proper ingredients. And sometimes you got the old school ingredients like an Austin Eckler or Brian Robinson Jr. But then you get a newfound thing in Jeremy McNichols or Chris Rodriguez. And then you got a new spice that pops up in Crocky Merritt. I think the thing for me is this. The offensive line is going to dictate what happens there. But a lot of those guys in the running back room, I think they understood. Last year when things went down, they were blamed. There wasn't an O-line blame. It wasn't the injuries of anybody. It wasn't what was going on with the offense. The running back got blamed. I think as a former running back, we never want that to happen. So Brian Robinson came in this year a little bit healthier, okay, more in shape. Austin Eckler been doing it for a long time. You saw every time Chris got a chance last year, and Jeremy, whenever Jeremy gets in the game, they make it happen. And now we got a young man the NCAA screwed in his last year of college, but ever since he's got an opportunity then, he's went out there and he's produced. I'm expecting to see the same thing. So I love that competition of the veteran guys, the mid-range guy, and the young guys. It's a mixture of things that's going to get you to the top where you want to be.
Yeah, I like that list of running backs you just brought up, and speaking of the whole analogy of about you cooking and everything, who I want to see cook this year is with this camp is JCJ. You know what I mean? I want to see a guy like him. Just knowing what we saw in Coleman last year, how we got him on board as a rookie and got him off to a great start. Just imagine when we have a guy like JCJ. We talked about his athleticism, talked about all he can do in the pass protection game. If we can get him off to a great start, just imagine what this offensive line could look like, you know what I mean, with this addition. So I'm looking forward to seeing him or hearing his name throughout camp. And I'm hopefully it's all good signs that this guy's going to have a great start to the season.
You talk about a good sign. Getting a guy like Josh Conerly, the moves we made show we're fortifying that offensive line for Jayden Daniels. When you're a quarterback, B. Mitch, and you see your team invest in the offensive line, invest in the weapons around you, it's got to make you feel good, right?
Well, it makes you feel good, not only with the offensive line, but what I discussed as well. The offensive line and the running game will make a quarterback's life easier. And also, Tanner understand, when they can run the ball, a receiver life is going to be easy. If you put it one-on-one on these receivers, then they should win. And I think that's the ultimate thing. Football is a game of matchups. And when your O-line can go out there and handle business, you give your running back a chance to go exploit some people. The receivers get the busted wide open because the league and the rules are dictated for the receivers now, where you can't touch them, and if you can't touch a guy like Tanner at 4'3", you're in trouble. You know what I mean? So I just think ultimately what this team is doing, they're methodically putting together a team that they saw last year needed some pieces, and they went out and they got guys that they think could come in and have an instant impact.
And talk about the guys in the trenches. When you flip that list, I talk about a guy that can have an instant impact. Javon Kinlaw. He stands out on the screen when you see him. This man is massive. How do you think he affects, especially our run game?
Well, I think with Javon Kinlaw, what happens is not only him, but you got other guys coming into Avery Goldman. Big guys normally dictate little guys' life, okay? And the big guys on this team on the defensive line, Javon Kinlaw was the biggest signing in the offseason. $15 million a year. That gives people attention. But when you look at him, you go, damn, that's a big dude. So if he goes out there and he starts commanding double-team respect, you're now going to give a veteran guy, like a Von Miller, opportunity to go one-on-one on the pass rush. Von Miller at 15, 16 years in this league is going to kill almost every offensive tackle out there. So Javon Kinlaw will be the guy who's going to initiate and dictate things. And I think this team went out there and they got bigger guys because they saw what we were dealing with. The defending champs, the Philadelphia Eagles. Offensive line is huge. How do you combat that? You go get you somebody that's strong, somebody that's powerful, and that's going to give them some type of hindrance. And if you could give them hindrance, now you can go and get in that backfield and make some things happen, whether against their running game or their passing game.
And Tanner, before we wrap up, Jalen Lane is a guy both of you guys are very, very excited to see. We've got to see him out here a little bit, going against the defense a little bit, getting that, that experience. What do you expect to see from Jalen Lane this week?
Well, I think one of the things that he has going for him, anytime you're a dual threat, meaning that you're a guy that's going to, play contributions in some special teams as a punt returner, kick returner, and then also be a receiver, you have to let one of those things, I guess you can
1,
say,
2, 3, 4, 5,
confidence
6
up for the other. And I think punt returning, being that's his first thing, that's what we really got him here for. I'm looking forward to seeing him excel out the gate in that, because I think if he excels as that punt returner, get his confidence up, it's no telling what he could do on the offense side of the ball. And I remember being that guy, being that young guy that when I came into this league, they wanted me primarily to run punts back. And when I got out there and I started making those guys misses and getting myself in the zone, man, as a receiver, when I came in the game, I was like, put whoever in front of me, I'm going to run past him. So knowing that he has the 4.3 speed, knowing that he has that fearless mentality, man, I'm looking for this guy to go out there and excel as a punt returner so we can also see his game rise as a receiver on his team.
I've had an opportunity to talk to him a few times already when Coach asked me to go on the field. Also, Jalen and I met. And when he asked, I said, man, any question you want to ask. And people normally ask you the questions that you like, come on, dog, it's a little bit more serious than that. He was asking about longevity. How can he better his craft? How can he get his body stronger? And I was discussing all those things with him. But the one thing I love about him, he has this confidence. Okay, and Tanner kind of alluded to that earlier, where if you have confidence in something and you go and you exploit that, you get more opportunity. And I believe if he keeps doing it big time on that return game, those coaches are going to find a way to get him on the field. Once you get a guy that can exploit something and has that ability to break games open and you see that, you want to give him more opportunity. Yeah. And I think Jalen Lane is going to be ready for it.
And he is going up against one of the better passing secondaries in the NFL. And speaking of defensive backs, we got Fred, we got Sean on the sideline. But Fred put a list together for us before we send it out to them of his defensive backs that he's looking at. All right, so let's take a look at those defensive backs real quick. He's looking at Trey Amos, our second-round pick. Will
Louisiana
Harris,
in the house,
who we brought in from the Saints. Big expectations for him. Tyler Owens, who was an undrafted free agent last season. Big expectations for this young guy. And then, of course, our rookie, Mikey Sandersill, man. Huge game from number 0, and we're expecting huge things from our guys out on the sideline right now. That's Logan Paulson, Fred Smoot, and Sean Springs. Fellas, we miss y'all out there.
Thanks, Brian. It's so fun being out here at practice right now. We got the offensive line here. We got skill acquisition. They're working ball security, working tackling. But I'm with 2 DBs.
Yeah.
And I think, the hottest position group right now coming out of the first 3 days are the DBs.
Yeah.
Right? Like they just on Friday last week, man, were getting their hands on footballs. And just talk about maybe the dynamic of that group. We got young guys. We got old veterans. We got 2 young safeties. We got kind of a interesting guy at nickel. What are our thoughts about them? And Fred, honestly, watching them last week, a lot of man coverage. Played way better, way tighter than I ever would have thought. Tell me about that group real quick.
Well, the thing about it is, me and Blue understand the defense. We start out faster than y'all before y'all get y'all time in their training camp.
Let's talk about that a little bit more, right?
Yeah.
Because why is that?
Because cover 1 never changes, cover 2 never changes, cover 4 never changes, and these guys played in Coach Witt's defense last year. So now they don't have to come in and learn the defense. Now they can just come in and play fast. So then we get a head start on y'all. But as time goes on, y'all start to get that timing down. The quarterback starts to know where the ball going to be. He started to identify coverages, and then they come out and start to make plays on the defense.
Well, I think what Smoot is trying to say is a lot less thinking.
Yeah.
We're taking
defensive guys are dumb.
I wouldn't go that far, but to Smoot's point, it's a lot less thinking. All OTA, all spring, you had a chance to really work on the coverages. So, and after a while, the coverages are the coverages. Then it's about refining your technique when you come into camp.
Well, I guess also, right? Like the offense is pretty simple, right? Day 1 install, we're going to be in 2x2. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then as we get on, the motion's going to add.
You're going to start the layer thing.
Yeah, right.
And to be fair, the defense, they've seen the plays all for the last 3 months, so they kind of know. So I'm excited, man. That room is deep. We were talking about Trey Amos, the rookie.
Yeah, I love him.
Yeah, because I know you like him. How do you feel about him?
I love him. I mean, we finally drafted a corner from Mississippi that can actually get it done. So Trey, we can actually get it done. He's long. He's athletic. He's patient. A lot of, and I'm afraid to tell you, a lot of guys are coming in the league, even though you're athletic and you can move and you're confident, you're all over the place with your feet. His feet are calm.
Yeah.
He's explosive. He's just a quiet confidence that you like to see in the
Logan,
NBA.
when I think about this new group, this is what I think about. I think about having a guy in Marshall Lattimore that's trying to get back to the top tier in the league. I got a guy,
Healthy
Trey
now.
Amos, that can ball skills are just outrageous. Mikey Sanders still gets to move back inside, and that's why I think he can actually dominate it. Then you got Will Harrison, you got these other guys in the back end. Quan Martin, to me, I think is going to take a Pro Bowl leap this year. So I'm excited about all these guys. Then I'm excited about the guys behind them, the Tyler Owens of the world, and the Igbinogamy. Jonathan Jones, and like it just they got so much depth and so much wisdom back there that I don't think people gonna give them the credit that they deserve.
Yeah, it's funny because like I think Fletch was saying that he wasn't worried about the depth, and I think one of the things is like the health of Marshawn Lattimore, right? Like, and now if he's healthy, he looks great, he looks strong.
Yeah.
And again,
And he got a chip. And he got a chip on the shoulder.
And it's hard to come into be traded mid-year.
Mid-season,
Injury. So you're trying to learn a new system and you're trying to overcome an injury. So that's tough. I expect him to come in. He has some great spring practice. I expect him to come in.
And he tried to force himself in because the team had that momentum.
Yeah.
He wanted to be a part of the locker room.
Yeah.
You know how it be when you get traded to a team. But when you came here, you had to ingratiate yourself with the locker room. So it happens with DBs. But I would have told him take it one day at a time.
Yeah, I think that's one of the more exciting position groups. And again, like we're going to come back later.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about rookies and kind of talk about how all those guys are looking and doing in practice. But in the meantime, back to Brian, back to Santana, and back to B. Mitch up in the studio.
The shout out to our guys now. We have B. Mitch in the building. So it's only right we talk about our Commanders run game. Over 154 rushing yards per game and 25 rushing touchdowns with one heck of a rushing quarterback to add to that. Now, B, we talked about it a little bit. Tanner had mentioned Josh Connolly Jr., but this offensive line as a whole has improved, has gotten better, and they're getting to run it back again with some of those guys we brought in last year. What are you expecting to see from our offensive line in this run game?
I'm expecting to see a lift. You know, coming from a team whose history discusses running backs. You go all the way back to the Hogs and John Riggins, Ernest Bynum and Gerald Riggs. Ricky Irvin's jumped in here, did some things. Stephen Davis, Terry Allen. It's been running backs here for years, but those running backs all had something in common. They had an offensive line in front of them that would move people for them. Last year we saw when this offensive line was healthy how good they can be, but the ultimate thing is when they got banged up, we saw how things can be limited.
Yeah.
But I think for this game now, you got a Josh Connolly Jr. over on the right side. You know, you can move Wiley just about anywhere. Coleman gets a chance to play more of his legitimate spot at guard. You have Tunzel, one of the best offensive tackles in the league here now. And I think Biotis also, when you finally get Cosby back, we have not only a formidable five, we have a lot of depth.
Yeah.
And I think that opens up spots. Like a running back, you don't want to have to make a move as soon as you get the ball. If you can hit the offensive line full speed downhill, big things will happen. And I think what it does also, it kind of shields your quarterback. Jaden ran the ball a few times last year. He got banged up on a kind of a fluky play, I call it, when he was going down, the guy fell on top of him. But ultimately, when he's a weapon that can get you when you're not paying attention, he's even more dominant. I think the running game is going to be better because of the offensive line. And I think the offensive line should lead the way. I always tell people, the way your team gets better when you get your engine and your transmission work.
Yeah.
Your engine, offensive line. Transmission is your defensive line.
Yeah.
If those things are top-notch, your team is going to be top-notch.
And Tanner, some of those parts of the engine have moved around. We talk about a guy like Brandon Coleman who played tackle but also played inside. Dan Quinn let us know during this offseason he is going to be moving inside. A lot of that has to do with drafting Josh Connolly Jr. How do you think a guy like him, a former basketball player, a true athlete, fares on the inside?
Well, you know, one of the things that we talked about when Coleman came in last year, that he was predominantly a guard, you know what I mean? And moving him to tackle was what we all questioned. He went out there and did a great job, a marvelous job at, playing left tackle. out the gate as a rookie. He's one of those rookies that we don't give a lot of credit to from last season, but he did a hell of a job, protecting Jaden's blind side. So now you get him back into his natural or his true position, and I'm pretty sure it's still going to be one of those uphill battles because he has to get back used to just doing things a lot different. He's tighter in space. He have to worry about being in sync with that center and being in sync with that left tackle and our new left tackle Tunsil. But I think just having him being able to be interchangeable, that's one of the things that we take a lot of pride in with our offensive linemen. All these guys can really play any position on the line. So it's great to have that talent. It's great to have that asset in your back pocket from Coleman and especially from this team, knowing that we have guys that whether this guy don't work, we can move another guy there. But I'm looking forward to seeing Coleman excel there, just knowing that he's familiar with it.
And that offensive line, big expectations for them, especially when you draft maybe the steal of the draft in running back Jacory Krosky-Mary, JCM. They call him Bill. Yeah. When you look at a guy like Jacory Krosky-Mary, me and Tan off the rip, this kid's big.
Yeah,
He's a lot bigger than he looks like on film. How excited are you to see a guy like that? Because B kind of look like you a little bit moving out there.
I'm very excited because, when you see a guy who doesn't play his last year of college football because of some unfortunate situation with the NCAA. But then the first chance he goes and wins the MVP of the All-Star game. Then he comes out here and you watch him a little bit. You see those guys who are low to ground. They have great balance. They shifty, and then he has that speed. He may not be no breakaway like Chris Johnson from Tennessee, but he can go the distance. So what I like about him is he's the type of guy where the offensive line gives him that little crease, and then Bill will pay the bills. He can get the pay dirt. I like all the things about him. Great vision as a running back, and I'm just waiting to see that. When you get behind an offensive line, then he looks big, but when he's short enough to where he can use Ricky Irvins, use the offensive line as a shield, and then you show up, and one-on-one, people have problems trying to tackle him.
And I think what makes people really excited about him, too, is what he can do in Cliff Kingsbury's offense. Because it seemed as if every time a running back's number was called, whether it was Chris, whether it was McNichols, they rose to the occasion. I mean, McNichols had a huge game for us. Tanner, how do you think he fits well in a Cliff Kingsbury offense, especially with all those skill sets that B-Mitch mentioned?
I just think he's a great switch hitter. He's one of those guys that you can say, okay, we need to bring him in for this right now. He has enough explosions. He's very explosive. And not only that, just some of the things that B. Mitch just alluded to is just his size. You took that for granted until you saw him in person. And I'm like, well, wow. I thought he was a straight up and down guy, lean guy, that because you saw how quick and how agile he was on the field. But he almost looks like B-Rob statue-wise, but he has a gear to that B-Rob and the other guys don't have. So I'm looking forward to just seeing this guy being able to play in space. When you have an offense like Kingsbury, you talk about so many things that he did last year with the getting the ball out of Jaden's hands right now and letting the guys make plays. That's what I see from him. I'm seeing him. He can be on one of those threats in the passing game. He can be one of those guys in the run game because all you need for him to make one guy miss, and boy, trust me, it's going to be a track meet.
And you know what? His size, it talks about first and second down runs. But the league has play a lot of nickel defense now. So that means there's one less big guy and one smaller guy. Small guys have a problem with a guy like him.
Small guys have a problem with a guy like him. Small guys have a problem getting a guy like Chris Rodriguez down, Jeremy McNichols, all that depth. You look at all of these pieces in that running back room, all different ways, but very, very versatile. Then you look at Austin Ekeler, before we go, because you are that return guy. We saw Austin Ekeler returning kicks. However, we knew how paramount he was in our rushing and passing game. How do you want to see Austin Ekeler use this year?
Well, I want to see him using it always, to be honest. But the thing about it, you don't have to depend on him so much. When you have a guy like Jalen Lane, as we talked about earlier, on his team now, Austin is not tasked with trying to do everything, which makes him even more dangerous when he's going to be the guy. If he could come into a game fresh, offensively, third down, things like that, he gives people a problem. That when you have to make guys do a lot. I think when I got here, there were guys that were trying to do dual work. I was able to take that work off of some of those guys. Jalen Lane could do that, which is going to make Austin Ekeler even more dangerous.
Commanders family, we are here for our training camp live show. We got the fans in the building. You hear them cheering. You hear the applause. And you know what? Our guys are on the sideline ready to break down some more of training camp. It's time for Money Views, presented by Bank of America, the official bank of the Washington Commanders. Take it away, fellas.
Thanks, Brian. So obviously now we're in kind of an individual period of practice. We got our linebackers over here, and this is something that they did last week also, and it's the run fits.
I like
You know what I'm
it.
saying? Run fits and pass coverage. It's like, you get the linebacker coach there kind of going through all the calls.
Yeah.
How important is that on the defensive side of the football to kind of have like these, oh, no, we're doing pass rush over here, guys.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah,
they
yeah,
psyched
no,
me
no,
out.
No,
Psyched me
listen,
out.
I love it when they do the small minutia. I
Yeah.
like it when they do the stuff that nobody, when you come in as a pro, they say, here go the template, here go the floor. But they don't want to do the floor things anymore. They
Yeah,
give you
yeah,
the
that's a great
benefit
point.
of the doubt and say, you know what, he should already know how to do that. When no, we need to cross
Wow.
our T's and we need to dot our I's.
And you got to create good habits and continue to reinforce those good habits, and that's how you do it at individual drills. And it's the little things like we can see the DBs down there and how they can drop their hips as they approach the
run.
ball carrier,
Yeah.
the runner. So everybody's focused on the run. Even the defensive backs, they got to be.
That's why I'm glad I was one of those cornerbacks that actually played the run. So these things that I used to do all the time, like we went back and forth, and you did not want to give me my props, Blue, about how well I played sweeps, off tackle, things like that. The situational things. See, the one thing I knew is the small things. Like if the tackle is light on his hands, on his fingertips, it's a run alert for me. Huh?
You would actually been good in this day and age of football because there's no physical running backs. All the backs are small, so you got to be able to play well in space. So I'll give you credit there.
Dude, yeah.
But other than that, you didn't want to play in your era.
Absolutely, but this linebacker group I think
Yeah.
is kind of interesting, though.
I like
because
them.
again, you've got Bobby, you've got obviously Frankie. They're kind of like the guys at the top of the list there.
Yeah.
But afterwards, I think the guys behind them, these
Add something to the table.
these second-year players, Jordan McGee, Dominique Hampton, are super interesting
Yeah.
and have actually been playing pretty well in practice.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Dominique Hampton is one of
Yeah.
those guys. What does he play? Sometimes he's moving with the DBs. Is he a big nickel? Like he's one
Look
of
at
those
that movement skill there,
I'm
man.
saying between him and Kay Madrano, the athleticism that you get with Hampton and Kay Madrano, and Hampton is a second-year player, so everything should slow down for him. And Kay Madrano, you know how I feel about him. Right now, I know I love you, Logan, but he could be my favorite player from UCLA.
I mean, he's
right now.
definitely way more athletic. I mean, his RAS score was unbelievable.
And McGee looks the part. You talk about a
Yeah.
guy who was coming off last year, was a little banged up, but now he looks like he's built his body up, physical presence and inside. He can run. He can really run,
And he's
too.
going to be a guy that we depend on.
Yeah.
Not just special teams. Like, he's going to have a role in this rotation when it comes to the linebackers.
Yeah.
Don't you think, Logan?
I think absolutely. I mean, we'll see. I think he's a guy that's going to have to, like Kay Madrano specifically, going to have to cut his teeth on special teams. But,
Right.
you know, like with McGee, he's a guy that I think
Can get in the rotation.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, Joe Witt Jr.'s talked about how they want to find a way to get him on the field. They want a package for him. And it's interesting watching practice, man. He brings juice.
Yeah.
He's got, like, you know, I remember watching him at Temple coming out. And just the athlete and the physicality that he plays with. I mean, even just watching these drills, man, the rhythm of the feet, the hands, how it all marries up, I think is really
And
locked
you would
in.
think a guy that's built like him, you would only see him impress you with pads on.
Yeah.
But to see him move without the pads tell you they want a certain type of athlete on that second level. Like we saw what they did when Bobby Wagner and Louisville came here. It changed this whole defense. I am convinced once you got a good second level, it negates the front and it negates the back end because now you can go sideline to sideline and you can stop in the A gap and the B gap and force team to beat you on third down.
And now you got Frankie who's play on both levels. He play on the front because we think
you gonna add him to the pass rush.
We're gonna add him to the pass rush. Man, it sounds good to have Frankie and Vaughn across from each other. That'd be a serious third down.
Yeah, absolutely.
Rush.
And then I look at, you know, the other one that I think is really interesting is Dominique Hampton.
Yeah.
Just how big, number 45, how big he's gotten.
Yeah.
And then when you watch him in team, like he's got that safety range,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I know like it's in, like obviously the two guys at the top are established.
Yeah.
But we've got these kind of athletic freak shows kind of backing people up.
He remind me of Curse when Coach Quinn was coaching the defense at Dallas.
Yeah.
Where he moved him around
Yeah,
everywhere.
Very similar to body
same
type.
archetype, same type of athlete.
A champ canceller body type.
Yeah.
You
Yes.
see him when Coach had him in Seattle. So
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and so obviously the linebackers are incredibly interesting. The other interesting group I find, especially because the young guys in it, we talked about the DBs. I think the safeties are really compelling,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Will Harris is, you know, I saw
Unique.
him play
He's
last
not a
year.
young guy, but
He's
yeah,
not- but he's versatile.
But
He
very
got free
versatile.
Safety, strong safety. He has range. He can come off the hash, but he's physical.
Yeah.
So you know, I mean, he's not big.
Yeah.
But he's tough.
No, he
And-
plays big.
He plays big.
You
so,
got to think about it. Everybody they brought in is versatile. Jonathan Jones, Super Bowl winner, can play inside, outside.
Play man coverage. Great man. Play
Like
great man
Quan
coverage.
Martin is a guy that can play free safety, strong safety, and can play big nickel if you
Yeah.
need him to. Also, you know, my guy is Tyler Owens. Tyler Owens don't get talked about much because he's a special team maybe. But look for 40 to take a step forward in trying to I want to get into the rotation.
Yeah.
I want to be a starter at this team. I just think his athletic profile, his physicality, his intensity that he plays with. Listen, the little unknown becomes stars when Michael Jackson moves to the side and get Tito Jackson a chance to sing.
And I love that little drill they just did right there because they're working like a wing tight end set, and they're working run fits, right? Because people forget. Like, everyone thinks safety's got to cover ball production, but in this defense, they got to play the run.
They're part of the run scheme.
In a different level.
And at times, our safeties will get in the B gap, right? Because they'll be that hybrid nickel spot where they have to get in front because, people spread you out a little bit. So we got some guys who are very versatile at everything, and I love
that's
that.
a different run lane when you're coming down as a safety and you're seeing it off of the hash instead of being a corner and you're seeing it from the side. It's a whole different run lane. It's a whole different way that you have to attack it. And that's what I love about Quan Martin. The one thing about him, he's not the biggest guy, but he will give his body. He reminds me of Ryan Clark. Like Ryan Clark would give all 205 pounds of their safety position. And I think Quan is going to take that next step also this year and let people know I could be a Pro Bowl safety in this league.
In the personality, great personality.
Yeah, he's a sponge.
He's a sponge. We had him on the show. We talked to him last year. Yeah. And all he talked about is just film work. Yeah. Getting better. The little intricacies of football that he wanted to learn, pick your brain. So he's one of those kids. You could sky's the limit because he just wants to learn.
You could tell he was coached by a pro coach in college. Lovie Smith had all of those guys. Lovie Smith had pro.
Witherspoons.
Yeah, he had 4 pro DBs all at the same time. And you could tell when he got here, I was like, he processing things very slow like a veteran. Right. And then I reminded myself, Lovie Smith was his head coach in college.
That's a great point. And that coaching is so important. But it's interesting watching this, man. Like watching Tyler Owens. I mean, he's 6'3". He's 220 pounds.
That's the one.
His range, and again, like last week, he was playing a little bit of nickel, playing a little bit of safety. Yeah. He just feels like a guy because of the athletic profile. Mm-hmm. Like you want to get on the field. The thing that I wonder, Fred, for the young player like that is how hard is it to pick up the playbook? You know what I mean? Because you were a special teams guy last year. That's all you did. And now it's like, hey, we're going to give you more opportunity. Like, what are some of the issues with that mentor?
I don't think it'll be, especially this year. I think if he ever was going to have a problem picking up the playbook, it was going to be last year. Right. Because, as a rookie, you're overwhelmed with this big playbook. And it's not like college. They put the playbook down in your face and say, all right, I'll see you at practice tomorrow. Yeah. So I think he done snugged up under some of these veterans, and I think he's learning from them. And they asked him to do multiple things. And I think that's the thing that, if anything can slow down his progression, is the fact that he has to learn free safety, strong safety, and big nickel, and maybe a couple of more things. But other than that, I think he's going to be all right. And I got him highlighted as one of my up-and-coming players on this team that could bring more. Like, he's one of them players. I'm going to tell you like this. It's always a couple guys on the team that we don't want to let get on the field because you won't get your job back. He's one of those guys. He's a job stealer.
Well,
that's a great point.
I look at it like just like the death. Like at times here, we felt like if one of the starters got hurt, we didn't have a guy who could come off the bench. Yeah. And there was a drop-off. Yeah. You're absolutely right. There will be no drop-off, because this year, too, he understands the system better. What they're asking him to do is nothing too crazy other than when you're in that strong safety, do your job.
I need you to come downhill.
And where he lacks in understanding the game, his athletic ability makes up for it. So, I mean, it's just crazy. Good to see him watching, just he can buzz underneath, and then he plays zone, grip, vision, break to the ball, great hands. I mean, you're right, Smooth. That's a guy you figure out how to get him in.
No, you figure out how to get him on the field. Like, you make packages for him. Like, you make 3 safety packages anticipating on putting 40 on the field.
Yeah. And he's got to show that he handles it. But I also think having guys like Revo, the leadership that he brings, and again, he's a special teams guy, but when he plays in the defense, he makes plays.
He studied.
He makes plays.
Yeah. And Revo is one of those guys we talk about, veterans that come back.
Heart and soul.
Yeah, you hear about Bobby, and you even heard about how Marcus is helping Jaden. Revo brings that to the secondary where, it's just
he brings a realness to it and professional living to it. And he done seen the lows of the NFL. He done seen the highs of the NFL from a guy that never gets on the field to a guy that's a Pro Bowler. He can tell them, be calm, be patient. Your time gonna come, but when your time do come, I need you to be ready.
Yeah, and Fred, we haven't even talked about the defensive, like the corners yet. We talked about it a little bit at the top. Yeah. But you, my man, talked to Trey Amos recently.
I did.
And it went well?
Hey, first of all,
Ole Miss man.
I did talk to an Ole Miss man. But his excitement, his knowledge, his calm and coolness, and when we talked about his technique and what it took for him to get there, you're talking about a guy that transferred 3 times. He knows the ups and downs when it comes to this league. He's ready to play. He's microwavable. He's ready to play.
And we got that for you right now.
How did you feel when you walked in and it was Marshawn Lattimore, Mikey Sarensteele, and some of the guys you got?
I feel like it was like a perfect opportunity, just to learn from them.
Yep.
And like, I just wanted to bring the best foot forward.
Yeah.
And everything will work out for itself. Just keep on level-headed and just being positive, just ready to work.
Yep.
And you know what I love too? I mean, you were saying this before we went on, which is in any work situation, when you're new, you never know how you're going to be treated, how you're going to be accepted. You were saying from the start, like, it's been, hey, welcome, we got you.
Right.
It's a learning process, but you're part of the team here.
Yeah, it's a real brotherhood over here.
Yeah,
So,
because people talk brotherhood, but they don't show it all the time.
But they show it over here for sure.
Yeah.
So, all I can say, like, I appreciate that. The transition been smooth. Everything been great.
Yep.
Can't complain at all.
Well, when they talk about Coach Witt, I had to play against Coach Witt when I was playing. When he coached in Green Bay, he had Charles Woodson and Al Harris. When he coached in the Cowboys, Trayvon Diggs and the rest of those guys. Have you looked at some of those guys and say, you know what? These guys led the league in interceptions when they played in this defense. Right. Maybe I could do the same thing in this defense.
So, like, we be watching all those guys, in film room, trying to get their technique and, just trying to, get 1% better every day. So, being with Coach Witt, he going to put us in, positions to, make plays, just play free.
Yeah, he's pretty much a DB-friendly defense. Right. And sometimes it's not, because my first defense with Coach Schottenheimer, they just basically put me, Champ, and Darryl Green on the island and say, y'all go out there and y'all just handle it, and we're going to do the rest of what we're going to do here. Yeah. But to play in a DB-friendly defense, especially as a rookie, I think it actually gives you a chance to ease your way into the NFL.
Yes, sir. I just have that, you just have to be a corner, you just have to have that dog mentality.
Yeah.
So I just keep that to a high standard, starting with a routine, knowing what you want to do, the time you do it, and, just execute. And I feel like you're going to have a career every single day.
That was Trey Amos on the Get Loud podcast. Now, if you love the Get Loud podcast, we got some special news for you. We are all up for the People's Choice Podcast Awards. Command Center Podcast, the best sports podcast. Get Loud Podcast, the best sports and best comedy podcast. Next Man Up Podcast, best male hosted and best black hosted. Go make sure y'all vote for that one. Hell Tells, best historical. You can go place your nominations right now on the People's Choice Awards, podcastawards.com. Now, before we end this very, very special show, future Hall of Famer Brian Mitchell has an extremely important message from one of our favorite Washington legends.
Well, it gives me great pride to do this, man. A lot of places I go, people ask me, are you and Santana related? I'm like, nah, we just hang a lot, And as I began, I was always a big fan of Tanner, and as I watched him play, and I hang out with him, I see why, because the dude is about his business. And, you always do a great job. And I tell people, well, you know what? Tanner and I hang so much, we need to be hanging together for the rest of our lives. And I think we will be, brother, because first game against the Giants, you coming up in the rafters. You going in the Ring of Fame, brother.
Yes, sir.
Love you, man. Congratulations.
And we love you so much. Your whole fam pulled up from Mr. 8 to the 9. The whole family is in the building.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Look around you, my brother. Look around you. Fill it in. Yes.
Damn, bro.
Yes.
Damn, dog.
They got
you, dog. Damn. I mean, you know what? Normally, I'm so nonchalant, man. And I don't know how to take in stuff, but man, that one right there, that. I don't want to show my tears, boy. I'm about to share some, man. I appreciate that news, man. Damn.
Tanner, just know you're allowed to feel whatever you feel right now, brother, because all this is here. All these people that are around here looking at you, they're here because not only what you did on the field, but what you done for this community, what you done for your family, what you done for your friends, what you done for all of us, brother. You deserve this moment, man, and we cannot wait to celebrate you. Not just today, not just against the Giants, but all season long, brother, because you are Mr. 8 to the 9. The coolest cat in the world, baby. My game day brother, the Cowboy Killer. Yes, give it up. We appreciate you, my brother. Now we ain't gonna get you crying. Now there's not much to say because it's time to party right now. We got the Mosses in the building. We got family here, Command Center family.
I done got all these dudes here, man. Where the hell did I come from, man?
Commanders family, we will see y'all next week. We got more live shows for y'all. But right now, this moment is all about Mr. 8 to the 9.
Damn,
Santana Mars. Give it up for him. Give it up for him.
I knew
We'll
it.
see y'all next week.
I knew it was something, man.
An incredibly historic career. Over 10,200 receiving yards